let's welcome back our guest. I'm so happy hindi na kami magkasama, nasa ibang continent na kami. Last time magkasama kami sa isang country, pero ngayon we're not together anymore as I'm back here in Manila. And let's welcome her back, Ate Angie. Hi, Ate Ange. Miss na
Hello,
kita.
good evening everyone.
Miss na kita, Ate Ange.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming back, Ate Ange. And there we had a question earlier, no? Would you like to answer it already? Pareho ba? Ito yung question.
Alin?
Is worry the same as being anxious? What do you think,
Mm,
Ate?
I think it's not the same. Worry is parang I think sa akin worry is parang yung attitude mo. Yung
Okay.
being anxious is parang na-carry mo na yung yung you are always on the lookout for parang nasa fear mode ka na nun eh. Yung worries
Mm,
parang sometimes lang, parang on off, parang I worry
yeah.
about these things. Pero
Okay.
anxiety is a bit different. Pero it can lead to anxiety because if you
Yeah.
worry a lot, yeah.
Okay. Actually, Ate Ange, I also checked, no, parang anxiety is, sabi ng APA, no, that's the American Psychological Association. Sabi niya, it is characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and physical changes. So, merong physical aspect yung anxiety, no, ate. And thank you
Mhm.
so much for answering that, no, na parang pag worry, ano lang siya, parang maya-maya may ganito kang naiisip. Pero if it can actually lead to anxiety. Tama ba ate? When you have
Mm.
a worried lifestyle, no? Yung lagi kang
Oo.
worried, pwede siyang
Mhm.
lead to anxiety. So, ate, let's continue the story, no? We ended last week, the episode last week. We were so happy, we saw pictures, and let me just pull up one. Ito yung picture natin, no? This is on the left, si Daniel.
Mhm.
I think ito ba yung first time na nakuha niyo si Daniel. And then the
Yes.
right, si Johnny, no? Later, pag-uusapan pa natin si Johnny. But, so si Daniel, the first child that you were able to get, but this was your answered prayer, pero ito yung nag-lead to, for you to actually have a breakdown, no? Nagkaroon ka
Mhm.
ng um, anxiety because of this. Ate, can you share with us? Kasi parang it sounds like, di ba dapat masaya ka na? Alam mo yun, ito na yung pinag-pray mo, you finally get it, in 7 days, you're going to have a baby after waiting 13 long years. Yung iba, ang tagal-tagal 9 months waiting for a baby, and then kayo, no, 13 years, and then in 7 days, nalaman nyo you're gonna get a baby, and that's Daniel. And what happened? Why did this lead you to anxiety?
So what happened is after nakuha namin si Daniel, I have to stop work. I have to be
Okay.
parang in yung condition din because Daniel needs to attach to us. So 1 year akong mag-off sa work. So that's a change which I understand and I welcome because we have been waiting for years, diba, na to have Daniel. And then what happened also is nagkaroon din ako yung condition ko worsened. I became because I have a myoma and it leads to heavy bleeding. And parang nagkaroon na yung time na yon, parang it progressed and I have to be in the hospital like every month. I have to be transfused, like I have to have blood transfusion na. And I can say then because of my low blood count, I'm easily tired and I'm
Okay.
adjusting to my new role as a mom. So, and parang to make things worse pa, my eyes uh, started acting up. Parang nalalabo siya because of I checked with the doctor, I had like glaucoma. So, yun yung
Ano
nangyari.
yun ate, all in the same time? So, magkakaroon na kayo
Yes.
ng all in 7 days. Okay, so sabi mo you were experiencing having heavy bleeding because of your myoma nga, no? That's the reason why
Mm,
you couldn't have
mm.
children. And sabi mo you would have a transfusion every month, meaning
Month
every time
na.
you have your period. 'Di ba? Tama ba
Yes.
'yun? Every time you have your period,
Mhm.
pupunta ka sa wow, pupunta ka sa ospital to get a transfusion. So, and then, so that was monthly, no? And then, ito na, dumating na si Daniel in 7 days. Tama ba yun, ate? Do
I
I
think
correct
it
yung
it like
recollection ko?
it
Yeah.
happened like in the same time. Before I don't
Okay.
have to, pero nung dumating na si Daniel, it became worse and then parang nararamdaman ko na parang nanghihina ako. So I checked on the doctor and the doctor says, I think because your blood is so low, you have to have a transfusion. So yun
Okay.
yung at the same time na dumating si Daniel, then these things also followed.
Mhm. So,
Ayun yung
kumbaga
nangyari.
sabay-sabay, ate. There were
Mm.
physical, there were so many changes. There was also a physical toll on your body. And I guess the
Mhm.
emotional side would be you would have to stop working. Kasi
Mhm.
did you find that difficult for you? You mentioned na you had to stop working for a year because that was the requirement para mag-attach
Mhm.
siya. Kasi nga, hindi man siya nanggaling talaga sa sinapupunan mo. So, he
Mhm.
had to attach himself. Was that something that was difficult for you to stop working?
I think it's not really, but it's part of the change. It's
Uh-huh.
I welcome that change, but at the same time, I'm adjusting also as to my role as a mom, yung taking care of
Mhm.
a baby. So there's a lot of things going on, and parang siguro yung I think mainly yung health issues din nag-follow. I think it's just one after another, yung all the
Mhm.
things that's going on, yun yung
Yeah.
nag-combine.
Wow.
Pero
And
kung
it was
siguro wala
having
yung health issues, baka it's more manageable.
okay. So,
Mm.
aside from meron kang mga changes, so when you say changes, you have to deal with changes, that's also mental, no? Or emotional kasi maraming mga shifts na mangyayari. Kaso nga lang na-compound siya. So, what happened, ate? No, ito na si Daniel, nakuha niyo na si Daniel, and then what happened?
What happened is I noticed na I actually didn't notice it quickly, but it's hard for me to sleep. Nag-start na parang
Okay.
hirap ako matulog. And then parang yung appetite ko, I'm losing my appetite. So I'm focusing
Mhm.
on my health. I am thinking na maybe it's because na parang may health issues ako or other than
Okay.
yung kung ano yung sinabi ko.
Mm.
I'm asking my doctor to pwede ba ako mag-request ng mga CT scans or something, MRI,
Okay.
because I think I don't feel well. So nano-notice
Okay.
ko I don't feel well at that time. So yung moods parang hindi na ako makakain, hindi na ako makatulog, yun yung start.
Wow.
And
Tapos
the
sabi
good
mo
thing
pa, ate,
is
go ahead, ate. Yes, go ahead.
after nun, the good thing is yung GP, yung doctor recognizes it. Sabi niya, "I think you might be having anxiety." Parang
Hmm.
na-recognize na ng doctor.
So, ang
So
key
dun
pala dun,
nag-start.
ate, kasi pina-check mo, sabi mo, "I feel sick." Right? I
Mm,
mean, ikaw yung mismong nagsabi na you want to have these tests done. You mentioned CT scan, no, and all these
mhm.
things. So, you felt there was something wrong. Okay, so then, the GP said na, "I think you have anxiety." And then, what happened after that, ate?
Ah, in-ask niya ako mag-fill out ng form and then, just to diagnose me properly. And then
Mhm.
parang it fits na nagkakaroon na ng anxiety. Yun yung ano, na-recognize din ng GP.
Napakaimportante pala, ate, ng ano 'no, ng getting help. I mean, buti na lang hindi mo siya like, "Kaya ko 'to," or like buti na lang you were able to, get the courage because for some people, that's something that maybe they're having a difficult time with 'no, na parang they don't want to be checked or something. So ikaw, you went and then finally nung nalaman mo you had anxiety, what happened?
Sorry. After that, parang nung nasa hospital ako, I think I had to have transfusion at that time. Mga
Mhm, mhm.
ano 'to, Christmas, around Christmas time. And then
Right,
the
and this was
doctor
the
said,
time ate, this was the time, no, ano, no, na actually, you were supposed to come for our wedding, right? That time kasi Christmas. Pero hindi ka na
mhm,
nakasama kasi you were with Daniel and
mhm.
nagsisimula na yung so Christmas time, okay, how was it? How was Christmas for you?
So before Christmas, I am in the hospital to have transfusion. And after that, yung eyes ko, nag-blur na talaga. So
Okay.
my anxiety really parang nagpo-progress na. And then the doctor, yung doctor sa eyes, tried his best and was able to, kasi talagang malabo na both eyes ko. And then he did like a laser surgery, and he was
Okay.
able to fix my eyes on December itself, December 25
Mhm.
itself. And then my GP said, I think you need to be able to recover, you need to go to the hospital, like yung
Okay.
hospital na deals with anxiety and depression.
Okay. During that time, ate, were you feeling, sabi mo anxiety and depression, do you think you had depression during that time? Or talagang anxiety lang? Or,
I think nung sa form na fill up ko, talagang doon ako shoot sa anxiety.
okay. What was it like? No,
Siguro
for
kasi
those who are, meron tayong nanonood, no, who would like to, anxiety ba yon or what was it like for you? What were you feeling, ate? Para ma-recognize nila na might be anxiety.
mhm. I think sa'kin ang mga nagbago nga ay yung appetite ko, I cannot, parang I don't have appetite to eat, and also parang hindi ako makatulog, hirap ako matulog, and
Mhm.
also parang hindi na ako maka-focus, and parang
Okay.
yung hindi ba your parang yung mind na creative parang nawala, and
Okay.
parang, ano pa bang, um, ano ko, I think yung isa pang na-recognize ko, parang na-pull na nawala yung joy, nawala yung
Okay.
parang I look before when I look at nature, I appreciate it and it gives me so much, parang na-uplift ako. But I noticed that during those times, parang when I look out at people and also at nature, it doesn't give me
Mhm.
parang joy. Parang
Okay.
na-drain yung joy ko. There's nothing there, and parang sad, parang all sadness.
Okay. So, puwede pala 'yun ate 'no, na anxiety kasi usually 'di ba when we say sadness, that's usually linked to depression. Pero puwede rin pala for those who are anxious that parang sabi mo walang joy, wala
Mhm.
lang, walang joy. So, you were having, I mean, this is the best moment supposed to be of your life, right? Finally here, you have a baby you're holding on to and yet there was no there was no joy for you. Tama ba ate?
Mhm. Parang I recognize that na nag-iba. Parang it's so hard
Okay.
na you wouldn't wish it on anyone, na parang gano'n pala kaimportante ang joy sa buhay natin. Parang it just really,
Mhm.
parang sabi ko nga sa'yo dati, it's like hell on
Uh-huh.
earth. Parang if that's gone from your, parang nawala yung hope and joy sa heart mo, and it's really parang hard to to get up and parang do things.
Wow. So, thank you so much for sharing that, ate, no? Because sometimes, for those who have not experienced that kind of, situation, parang, there's so many things kasi like, arte lang yan, worry lang yan, di ba? Yung mga ganon na
Mm.
sinasabi. Um, so you actually went to the hospital. Were you afraid of any stigma, ate? Na, kasi, I don't know about there in Sydney, but here in the Philippines, no, medyo malakas pa talaga yung stigma na pagka, yung mga mental health, medyo, although because of the pandemic, no, medyo mas nagkakaroon na ng awareness. Pero previously, parang, for you, how was it like? Did you feel any stigma or ano yung mga, when you checked it yourself into the hospital?
I think there will be stigma, but sa'kin,
Mhm.
I want to get better. People Not all people will understand, kasi iisipin mo rin, before I had anxiety, I had the same mind, parang I have the same thinking na, why would you be sad? Parang you have everything, you have this, parang
Oo.
hindi ako maka-relate na why would anyone be so depressed or be so sad when they have
Mhm.
parang a lot of things going for them. But
Yeah.
parang because I didn't experience it, iba rin yung na-experience mo, eh. And also,
Yeah.
kung kung iisipin ko kung ano yung opinion ng iba, I wouldn't get better. Kasi
Mm.
if you try to hide it, how will you deal with it? Parang you're not getting any help by hiding it. I think you really need to accept na you're sick. This is a sickness. This is not
Mhm.
something you need to be ashamed of, and you need help. And if parang iisipin mo yung shame of what other people will say, it's not going to help you. I think you need to acknowledge na you are sick and you need help, and it's important to let people, especially yung close to you, know and help
Mhm.
you parang go through with this. At least
Yeah.
you'll have a more chance of getting better.
I have to say, ate, you're so brave, like, because not a lot of people feel that way. Yung mas matimbang sa kanila, yung syempre nakakahiya, and all that. But you're just so brave na you really want to get up and you want to get better. Sabi mo nga, you want to get better. You want to do it not just for others, but even for yourself. I could tell, no, na you want to get better, not even just thinking of your family. You mentioned earlier, no, you couldn't empathize before. Did you also experience now while you were going through anxiety, no? I mean, after you went to the hospital, um, did people also say things na hindi nakakatulong, or alam mo yon, yung parang like ikaw mismo, you admitted na kung ikaw din, you could not relate with others, na sabi mo ang dami, there's so much to be thankful for. I'm asking this, ate,
Mhm.
because we might have viewers who have friends or loved ones who have anxiety and they actually want to help, and maybe yun nga hindi naiintindi kasi nga they haven't gone through it, and you're saying that when you also didn't go through it, you couldn't understand. So I'm just wondering, did you also face that? Were there negative things that were maybe said to you, and how were you able to get over it?
I think I can feel kasi I am a bit open about what I'm going through, even yung parang at the height of it. I can see that some
Oh,
people are uncomfortable with it when I say it,
mhm.
and I can
Okay.
see na sometimes I can I heard that someone commented, but he did that person didn't say it to me directly, but the comment is you're not trying hard enough. Parang yun yung
Mm.
na-receive mong imagine that na you're suffering, parang you're down there and you're trying, parang you're struggling na tapos parang people are trying to kick you, parang ganun yung feeling mo. Pero I
Mm.
think what's important on that part then, don't deal parang while you're having anxiety, just think na hindi kasi nila naiintindihan. Kasi yung thinking din na yun na I thought din just now na it will not help you. Kasi andun ka na nga sa point na parang nasa down ka na eh. So, don't
Mhm.
focus on people kasi it won't help you. Kung ganun yung tingin nila, just be gracious na lang because they don't understand.
Mhm.
Just focus on
Wow, so we're really
getting better.
Yeah, we're really learning so many things here, ate, by your sharing. Like for me also, no, I mean, I'm sure everyone else who's listening na we also have to be very careful with what we say, and we should be also supportive kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung pinagdadaanan nila. Sabi mo nga, ate, I think you mentioned it, no? Sabi mo, for you it felt like hell, no?
Mhm.
It felt like hell for you, and you don't want to wish it on anyone. So, ate, you were
Mhm.
in the hospital. For how long were you in the I'll pull up a picture here. And actually, I asked her for a picture. Sabi, ito yung pinadala ni Ate Angie. Sabi ko, ate, parang hindi naman mukhang hospital to. Pero because, sige ate, would you like to share? The picture on the left, sabi mo, this is with you in the hospital.
Okay, the picture on the left is yung hospital yan. Nasa labas lang kami niyan, pero dinalaw ako ni Jojo with Daniel. And yung kabilang
Mhm.
picture is the picture of Daniel. Abby sending me pictures because I cannot take care of Daniel at that time. I'm staying in the
Mhm.
hospital, so they're just sending me pictures of Daniel.
So Abby is
Ayan.
the sister of Kuya Jojo. So my sister-in-law
Mm.
also. And praise God, Abby was there, no? Ate Ange.
Yes.
Grabe rin si Lord mag-provide ano, talagang blessing din that, shout out to Abby who was there, time. So, it was like a hospital and ayan, during this time ate nakangiti ka but were you really happy during that time or was it a struggle?
It's a struggle pa rin. Alam mo
Mm,
meron pa rin akong parang i-she-share na parang yung feeling ko rin at that time, na I'm drowning and I'm taking Jojo with me and Daniel. Parang
mm,
yung kaya rin parang sinabi nga rin ni Jojo na there was a time I'm writing a letter na parang I was thinking na I am parang suffering and I'm taking him with me na if you choose na you have to let me go, parang minsan may thinking na ako na gano'n kasi parang nagi-guilty ako kay Jojo kasi he used to be very, very at that time very witty person. And then I see na what this sickness is doing to him as well is hurting him. So parang
mm.
nagi-guilty rin ako at that time.
How did you ano yan ate, how did you overcome that? Kasi ito ka na nga, you're anxious, no, you have anxiety,
Kaya nga eh.
na nakikita mo pa yung pamilya mo and you know, how do you get over something like that? Like, what was the cure? Maybe some people are asking, how do you get over anxiety? What do you need to do? What happened to you, ate? What did you need to do?
What I need to do. What did I think the parang pinaka-key sa'kin is you partner with also you get help and work with your doctor. So
Mhm,
what they did in the hospital is they tried some medication on me because I think they want me to have a good sleep first
mhm,
and also parang things na para mag-settle yung anxiety ko to deal with my anxiety and then parang ang plan ng doctor ko is I'll give you medication and after that parang sabi niya we will wean you off as you get better as you deal with
mhm,
your parang
mhm,
parang ang plan niya is to really get me off slowly. Parang to
mhm,
settle me down first because it's really at the
oo,
height na ng anxiety ko. But
mhm,
eventually, he will taper off the medication. But he also asked me na after that, you need to go to CBT class. Just to make sure na parang mas may panglaban ka. Yun yung plan ng doctor.
Ate, can you tell them what is CBT class? Baka hindi nila alam what CBT is.
Hmm. Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. Yan yung
Mhm,
parang this is uh, I think sa'kin, I did attend yung CBT nila doon, but I think it's better to have yung parang mas biblical form ng CBT. Parang sa'kin
ah,
mas nakaano ako sa kasi it will parang it will bring you yung parang meron kang biblical principles attached to parang
yeah,
how do you challenge yung thought mo at how do you renew your mind.
wow. So, ang ganda naman nun 'no, na talagang the Bible is supporting treatments like that. So, yun nga yung lagi nating sinasabi 'no, ngayon pa lang nadi-discover ng science kung ano yung sinasabi ng salita ng Diyos. It might not be
Mm.
as direct na, you know, cognitive behavioral therapy, but the principles are there, renewing your mind and,
Mhm.
doon papasok yung the science of how to do it 'no, na ano,
Hmm.
oh, may nag-comment si Pastor Mina, "Good thing Angie is a mature Christian." Ate Ange, would you consider yourself during that time as, you know, a mature Christian while going through all this?
I'm not sure. I'm just parang holding on to God. Hindi ba nakwento ko nga sa'yo at that time na height ng anxiety, I cannot pray. Parang ang
Hmm,
prayer ko lang nun, "Help me Jesus." Parang yun lang, iulit-ulit ko lang yun. Kasi parang talagang I cannot think parang or pray longer than that. Parang hanggang dun lang yung thinking ko. And I think what helps me is si Jojo na parang supported me all throughout yung journey na 'to. Whenever I went to the with the I went had an appointment with the psychiatrist, he's always with me and he always asks what he needs to do as
mhm,
someone who's supporting me. And I think my
amen.
faith in God also, yun ang naka-anchor din ako dun kasi I always pray na, "Lord, tulungan mo ako dito sa journey ko na 'to." Yun
Ang
yung
ganda nun ate, no? Prayers as simple as "Help me Jesus" can be
mhm,
an atomic bomb, ika nga 'no, in the heavenlies. It
mhm,
can do something
mm.
very powerful. Ate, I wanna ask you, speaking of which, you talked about faith 'no, how did God show up in this whole journey? It's a difficult journey, sabi mo nga when I was asking you, 2.5 years ba or a little over 2 years itong, going through anxiety. Of course, it got better naman 'no, you were in the hospital for 4 weeks and then things got better and unti-unti nawala ka sa medication, no, and all that. But it still took 2 years for you, no, at that time. And how do you see God in the whole thing? People can say, bakit inallow ni God na nagka-anxiety or, parang may mga ganun no? People can ask those questions. But I want to ask you, ate, how did you see God in the whole situation and how did He show up for you when at that time you were feeling like, I cannot pray, I don't know, yung sabi mo, I cannot pray, 'di ba usually pagandahan ng prayers yan kay God, palaliman ng prayer. Di ba pagandahan pero
Mm.
you want to articulate what you're saying, but you can't. You sabi mo nga as the prayers that you can only utter is "Help me Jesus." So
Mhm.
how would you describe that, ate? How was that God, how did He show up in that situation?
I think every step of the way, I think yung doctors that
Mhm.
I encountered and some of the nurses, I believe they're like they're part of the body of Christ. They're believers too. That
Uh-huh.
encourages me and help me. Kasi nung yung eye doctor, I believe he's a Christian. And yung GP, she's a Christian. I think yung
Mm.
journey ko, I can see even while I'm suffering, God is parang showing me love and care from the people around me.
Amen.
I think it's very unique yung body of Christ na we should stand up and really help those people around us suffering. Or if you notice something who's suffering, they're there, parang very loving and very warm. Iba yung
Mhm.
believer eh. And
Mhm.
also yung, I think sa akin, si Jojo really helped me. Uh, really parang champion yung cause to get me better as well.
Hmm.
Ayun.
Wow. Lahat sila na ano na sila, gusto na nila ma-meet si Kuya Jojo. Kasi kanina mo pa sinasabi si Kuya Jojo ano. But anyway, ate, you also mentioned actually, when we had our pre-interview, something about your nurse. 'Di ba? You said something about the nurse na sister nung carer ni Daniel. Tama? Can you
Yes,
elaborate on that? Kasi you were saying God put people around you to support you. Can you tell us more about that?
para nung pumunta ako dun sa hospital, there was a nurse that is really very nice and very caring and used to walk me around just to talk to me, especially when I'm being anxious. She will just guide me around the garden and just talk to me and comfort me. And then
Mm.
parang nung nakita niya na dinalaw kami ni Jojo, si Jojo and Daniel visited me,
Mhm.
Jojo noticed that she was a bit shocked. And then later
Okay.
on, we found out that she was the sister of the first carer of Daniel. And she's
Grabe.
also a Christian. Because after I get better, we went to Hillsong and I just saw her coming out of the service.
Wow. Wow. So yun yung sinasabi mo ate that God showed up by putting people around you na parang kumbaga even in your suffering. So you are suffering, no? We established that. Nagsasuffer
Mhm.
ka pero nandun pa rin si God. Hindi ka niya pinapakawalan even in your suffering. Ate, we're
Mhm.
we'll be wrapping up very quickly. If you have any questions, I can see napakadaming mga ano dito at daming nabe-bless dun sa mga sinasabi mo, Ate Ange. Praise God. Ayan, nakikita ko dito sa mga sa mga comments natin ano. Yes. Okay, okay. So, yes, last but not the least, ate, you already shared how you got over this. And now, ate Angie, what would your advice be to those who are struggling with anxiety? And yun yung first. And then what would you say to those who are like a support group, no? To those who are struggling, Ate Ange?
For me, for those who are struggling with anxiety, don't forget also, first thing, pray to God. Kasi di ba sinasabi nga sa Bible, do not be anxious about anything, but with prayer, petition, with thanksgiving, uh, give your request to God. So pray to God first for help, and also work with your GP, work with the health practitioner.
Your doctor.
It's important na you think you can do it by yourself, but if it's really hard na ano, I think it's better na to work with your health practitioner because it's a sickness and you want to get
Mhm.
better. It's good to get
Yeah.
better. And also
Right.
equip yourself when you get a bit better, when you have more fight in you, then parang try to parang change yung thought patterns, challenge. Kasi not everything that goes into your mind is yours or is from God or is true. You have
Mhm.
to check what you're thinking and challenge it because some of it is really lies para mas may panglaban tayo. And hold on, kasi ang truth naman makikita natin sa Word of God, so anchor it with the Word of God. Ayun,
Mhm.
yung mga
How about
ways.
Ate, for those who are supporting others, going, yeah. I think we had a question like that earlier kanina, no, if I'm not mistaken. If we can pull it up, I think we had that. Somebody was asking kanina, ayan, how do I pray for someone close to me who has anxiety? Maybe not just pray, but how can somebody help someone na close sila na going through anxiety?
For siguro ang ano, yung presence mo. Sometimes you don't need to be the answer. Parang I
Okay.
think yung presence mo, just willing to be there and be willing to just listen can help a lot. And also parang try to ano rin, encourage them to get help. Try to parang check them if they're trying to get help or they're having parang at least counseling to help them
Mm.
parang ma-overcome yung sickness.